This video is an excerpt from my upcoming course, Building Rapport, Going Beyond Small Talk with Advanced Communication Skills. If you like what you see in this video and you want to see the whole video, or indeed the whole course, check out the link in the description or the comments below. In this video we're going to talk about building rapport in a professional setting, the art of networking and professional relationships. I'll start with a little story. When I was in the executive team in the Department of Corrections, we had a Christmas lunch, probably sometime in November one year. And my little team went and sat together at a table, even though there's like 100 people there. They all sort of clustered together to play it safe. And I thought, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go sit somewhere randomly and just see what happens. So I went and sat at a table next to this guy who I'd never met. We struck up a conversation. I just spoke to him as if he was an old friend. Right, I didn't even ask what his job was. Might have asked his name, but I didn't try to figure out who he was and where he was in the hierarchy or anything like that. And within a few minutes, we were joking and bantering and telling each other deep personal information about our lives. And we had a great time, connected really well. And it was only later I found out that he was the deputy chief executive. So he was the second highest person in the organization. Now, had I known that or cared about that when I first spoke to him or during the conversation, it would have really affected how I talked to him, right? I would have become maybe needy or would have become subservient or tried to impress him. It would have changed who I was. But it's good that I didn't know, well, more so at that point in my life, I didn't care about that kind of thing anymore. That status didn't come into it. And that's why I was able to connect with him. See, networking, as it's called, professional networking, connecting with people in a professional space, is counterintuitive. People hear the word professional and they think, I have to be something other than what I normally am. I have to dress it up. I have to make it fancier and more polite. I have to use big words. I have to keep things limited to a certain range of conversation. I have to be impressive, so on and so forth. But being professional ruins rapport. It doesn't build it. This is why networking is so ineffective for so many professionals, is they go in there and they pretend to be something they're not, often with very needy and hidden motives and agendas, and then they wonder why it's such a difficult event, why it's so hard to network in any way that's really effective for their career. Being real breaks through boundaries, and the fact is it's even more powerful in the professional setting because everybody else is doing something else. When you're real in a professional setting, it stands out so much more than in a casual social setting. And that can actually be your strength. You can be the one person there who's genuine, who isn't affected by status, who just wants to connect and be of value to people, and isn't trying to get something, or isn't trying to climb their way up the ladder, and isn't trying to use people. If you're the only one in the room who's like that, then everyone wants to get to know you. Now, while I say that, there are some specific errors that we want to avoid when it comes to the professional setting. We obviously don't want to destroy our careers. We need to have some kind of intuition about what difference it makes to be in that setting. But at the same time, we don't want to lose who we are and become unreal. So in this video, I'm going to talk about some things that you'd focus on specifically when you're in the professional environment that you might not focus on so heavily in a social environment. But I really want to emphasize a message that when in doubt, just be real. So the main mistake that people make in professional setting is that they're safely superficial. So they just keep everything at this very superficial level. You don't get to know them personally at all. And they think that that's a safe thing to do when actually it's a mundane, boring thing to do, which is not safe for your career. Or they're needy and greedy. Every communication with them, especially when they're meeting new people at a networking type event, is driven by this desire, like, what can I get for me? How can I make this my benefit? And that can be felt by the people when you're talking to them. Somebody starts asking about who you are, what you do, where you stand in the company. Some people are just blatant. They start asking you for things and referrals and things like that. And it's just so obvious. You're just like a pickpocket going around stealing things from people, taking value from them. There is the slight mistake that some people make where they're too overly familiar in professional settings, like the person who gets drunk at the Christmas party and makes a fool of themselves. But that is actually quite rare. The most likely problem in the professional setting is the other end of the spectrum, you're too professional, you're too fake. To make professional networking work for you, it's actually counterintuitive. You need to focus on giving and sharing rather than trying to get something for yourself. Think always, how do I add value to the life of the person that I'm speaking to? And not just their professional life, though that might be the first thing you consider, but how do I make it that them meeting me is good for them? Rather than trying to sell yourself or get something for yourself, talk about the impact your work has or what you love about it. And also don't forget to talk about the bits that you struggle with and the things that you don't like, but don't complain like a victim. Just be real about your job, be shameless about the strengths and the positive side, and equally shameless about the bits you don't like. Now, if somebody wants to give you value, you've made it very easy for them. You've told them like how you can be used if they want to hire you or buy something from you, and also how you can be helped with the things that you don't like. Rather than you trying to get something from them, just give them the information as honestly as possible and let them make decisions for themselves. This will help you self-sort the people you talk to into those who want to give and receive equal value with you, and those who just want to take or ignore you, or the people who want to overshare and give you too much and not let it go the other way, and you can find the people who are the right fit for you. A really powerful way to give in a professional network setting that anyone can do is connections. As soon as you got one connection, one person that you've met and connected to, you can connect them with other people. So if you get a good profile in your head, and you may even write it down, of a person's strengths and weaknesses, of what they want, what they don't want, and then you meet someone else and you find out where's the match here? How does this person's strength meet that person's weakness and so forth? How can I connect them in a way where they'll both be glad that they met each other? And you can become the broker, the spider at the center of the web who brings everybody together and draws all the strings between them. And that can be the value you bring, even if you've got nothing else. Even if you don't have any particular skills or wealth or resources that you can bring the ability to just make the introduction that they wouldn't have thought to make. And also to understand, if you're doing a course like this and you're good at building rapport, a lot of people aren't. You can be the social gel that brings people together. You can make that initiation for them a lot easier. You say, Megan, have you met Mark? You know, you were talking about how you're working on that IT problem. Well, he's an IT genius. And Megan was actually telling me about how she's really good at PR, and you said you wanted some PR for your course, right? So maybe I thought you guys should talk to each other. It's so easy to do that, and you made life so much easier for them that you'll be remembered as the person who hooks people up with other people. And that is a good thing to be remembered for. Another good thing to be remembered for in the professional setting is the person who takes on the crappy problems that nobody else wants to touch. It's actually a really easy way to build up your value in a company. Just go around trying to find out what's the thing in this company or in this setting that nobody else wants to deal with because it's too hard or too boring or too scary, or you have to deal with the customers that yell at people or whatever, and go, I'll do it. And become known as the secret weapon, the person who, if nobody else can handle it, they've got to come to you. That is an irreplaceable person. When you talk about other people, talk them up behind their back. Right? Most people gossip negatively behind people's back, and most people talk themselves up. Try talking other people up. So when you're interacting and networking, instead of getting to that needy position where you try to sell yourself all the time, try to sell other people to them. They say, hey, have you met Mark? That dude is so impressive. If you get a chance today, go and talk to him. You know, his skills are just so underrated. If you knew what he did, it would blow your mind. And you start becoming the person who's known as building others up without them even being aware, the anonymous giver. Look at it this way, try to get other people promoted without them even knowing that you're talking about them. When it comes to looking for new people to network with and wanting to initiate that contact, in case I haven't emphasized it enough, try to make every contact with another person valuable for them. I don't mean try to impress them or people please them, but just stop and think before you reach out to someone, what might they need in their life that I can help with? What do they need to hear from? It might just be compliment or recognition. Could be a resource that you found, you think, oh, they would love this. Could be a connection with another person, like those two would get along really well. Could be a hookup, like, hey, have you seen this job application come out? Like, I thought of you. This thing where, like, every time they hear from you, they're like, oh, what's it going to be this time? It's always valuable. It's really helpful to be remembered as that person, but also it keeps you in the giving mindset, a confident mindset, which means you're not going to repulse people with neediness. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you want to know more about how to build your career through social confidence, get in touch, dan@brojo.org, and we can talk about coaching.